Good afternoon, dear students. I did a sunny morning in one of the sessions, and later I couldn't continue the same. Now, today, let us continue the one act play. And before I continue, let me recall what that I have told you. The two characters, Laura and Gonzalo, and their servants, respectively Petra and Jonito. Now, initially, Laura entered the park, and Laura is supported by Petra, her maid. Petra helps Laura, and Laura is in refined appearance. And there is a casual talk with Petra about her fear of occupying the park bench by somebody. She is more tired today, she says. And she finds Petra somewhat impatient. She permits Petra to meet the guard. Petra gives breadcrumbs to Laura. And Laura throws those breadcrumbs to the pigeons and enjoys their eating. Now, at this moment, when Laura was enjoying all that was going on there, the fact is, pigeons eat the breadcrumbs, and she is quite happy because this is the usual exercise and the usual work of Laura. Now, at this moment, there enters Gonzalo, and Gonzalo is supported by Jonito, though Jonito tells him to sit near Laura. He doesn't agree. He has expected the bench where he usually sits, but that bench is not vacant today. That is why he says that he wants a bench to himself. The bench he usually occupies is today occupied by three priests, and they are talking there, and Gonzalo expects Jonito to rout them out, but that is not possible, all of us know. At this moment, Laura gets angry because the statements of Gonzalo has disturbed Laura, and that is why Laura tells there, look out, be careful. At this moment, Gonzalo starts his speech. Are you speaking to me, Senora? Yes, to you, Laura agrees. What do you wish? You have scared away the birds who are feeding on my crumbs. Gonzalo asks Laura, what do you wish? Which means, why did Gonzalo disturb the birds, which means, I mean, pigeons. That is one thing. Second is that Gonzalo did not speak directly to Laura, and that is the reason that Gonzalo has asked the question, what do you wish? What is your expectation? The question has been put forward or asked to Laura. You have scared away the birds who were feeding on my crumbs. The time when Gonzalo entered the park, naturally the birds were disturbed, and which Laura did not like, and for which Gonzalo has said, what do I care about the birds? We can understand that there is no reason in the park to care for the birds. But Laura says, I do, but I do. But I do means I care for the birds. Immediately Gonzalo says, this is a public park. Laura asks the question to Gonzalo, saying that, then why do you complain that the priests have taken your bench? If Gonzalo says that it is a public park, naturally there is no reason to say that the bench is not vacant there. The priests have occupied the bench, and as a result of that, he did not get the proper seat. These are not acceptable, is the hint that Laura has given now. With this question, then why do you complain that the priests have taken your bench? Gonzalo says, Senora, we have not met. I cannot imagine why you take the liberty of addressing me. Come, Jonito, both go out right. We have not met. So this is the first time that we have got the information that Gonzalo and Laura haven't met so far. I cannot imagine why you take the liberty of addressing me. Since we haven't met, how do you take the freedom of addressing me is the question that Gonzalo has asked. And then, of course, along with the Jonito, both of them go to the right side. Now, Laura, what an ill-natured old man. Why must people get so fussy and cross when they reach a certain age? Looking toward right, I'm glad he lost that bench too. Serves him right for scaring the birds. He is furious. Yes, yes, find a seat if you can. Poor man, he is wiping the perspiration from his face. Here he comes. A carriage would not raise more dust than his feet. Enter Don Gonzalo and Jonito by right and walk toward left. Now Laura makes a long statement saying that he is an ill-natured old man. She has said it is ill-natured because first thing is that he has disturbed the birds. Second thing is that he has troubled her. And the third fact is that without there is proper connection between the two, he has said to her that this is a public park. So these three reasons we have to remember with regard to ill-natured old man. Why must people get so fussy and cross when they reach a certain age? Fussy in the sense bad-tempered, nervously agitated, you can say. Cross, bad-tempered, dissatisfied, you can say. When they reach a certain age. These are all common statements which even we do know. Looking toward right, Laura then says, I'm glad, I'm happy. Why is she happy? Because he lost that bench too. The thing is that he has lost the bench, and as a result of that, she is happy. Serves him right for it, scaring the birds. And she is happy. Second reason that she has given is that he has disturbed the birds who were eating breadcrumbs. Now, God has given him a punishment that he hasn't got the same seat where he usually sat. He is furious, he is angry now. Yes, yes. Find a seat if you can. Let him find another seat, another bench, and there let him sit. Poor man, very kind person. Poor in the sense, the person who is helpless here, that is why. He is wiping the perspiration from his face. Now, at this moment, he is getting sweated, and that is why wiping the perspiration from his face. Here he comes. A carriage would not raise more dust than his feet. So, in the previous conversation, we have understood that along with Jonito, both of them have gone to the right side. Now, once again, he has entered the same place. He has come there. A carriage would not raise more dust than his feet. Now, it is understood that he is coming without taking care of the place, which means just the time when he has entered, there appeared so much dust, there spreads so much dust, which Laura did not like. Enter Don Gonzalo and Jonito by right side and walk toward left side. Now Gonzalo, have the priests gone yet? Asked Jonito. No, indeed, senior, they are still there. They haven't vacated the bench, they are still available there. Now, the opinion of Gonzalo is such: the authorities should place more benches here for these sunny mornings. Well, I suppose I must resign myself and sit on the bench with the old lady. Muttering to himself, he sits at the extreme end of Laura's bench and looks at her indignantly, touches his hat as he greets her. Good morning. Now, there is no other alternative arrangement. That is why he has to accept the seat that is available by the side of Laura. The authorities should place more benches here for these sunny mornings. This is an opinion that he has given. Well, I suppose I must resign myself. I must resign means I must accept myself to sit on the bench with the old lady. And then he starts muttering, because it is given in the parenthesis, muttering to himself. He sits at the extreme end of Laura's bench and looks at her indignantly, very angrily. Then touches his hat as he greets her. So look at the very greeting, that greetings are different in different places and countries and areas, and he touches his hat and then greets good morning. Now, Laura, what you hear again? Now, immediately when somebody tells or somebody tells us or somebody says good morning, what is our duty? We should also greet good morning, fine morning, etc. And thank you, that is also acceptable because they have greeted us. Now, here look at what happens. What you hear again. Laura is very much surprised to see Gonzalo, who has once entered and then of course he has gone out. Now once again he has entered, and that is why you hear again. Now Gonzalo, I repeat that we have not met. Second time he says, we have not met, and how is it possible that you have greeted me? The question that Gonzalo has asked Laura. Now Laura, I was responding to your salute. So she is responding to the salute by asking him what you hear again. That is what she has said. But Gonzalo says, good morning should be answered by good morning, and that is all you should have said. Gonzalo has the expectation, the cultured opinion that he gives, but of course we have understood that he has already told us that the place is though a public one, where he has had the thought that priest shouldn't have come. So when we think of these aspects, the qualities of Gonzalo, there are blemishes as well, there are mistakes as well. Now anyway, good morning should be answered by good morning, that is all you should have said. He has an expectation from Laura to be said good morning only. Instead of that, what Laura has said is what you hear again, so which he hasn't liked. Now Laura, you should have asked permission to sit on this bench, which is mine. Now look at the conversation that moves in such a way where once again what Gonzalo has said, the same is getting repeated. The benches here are public property, Gonzalo said. Laura, why? You said the one the priests have was yours. The benches here are public property, the statement that has been made by Gonzalo, and earlier also he has said this is a public park. Twice the same statements have been repeated, and he knows that it is a public place. In spite of that, he has made such a comment that priests shouldn't have occupied. So we have to relate these ideas in order to understand his behavior, his nature also. Why? You said the one the priest have was yours. Gonzalo has agreed. Very well, very well. I have nothing more to say. And then he couldn't control. Already he was dissatisfied. He had bad temper and biting his teeth. Between his teeth, in the sense, biting his teeth. Senile old lady, he addresses Laura. Senile means suffering from bodily or mental problems due to old age. Senile old lady. She ought to be at home knitting and counting her beads. He has a notion that at this age she should have been there at home knitting and counting her beads. And this is not actually to be said by Gonzalo based on the background that is available, but this highlights the male domination once again. Laura, don't grumble anymore. I'm not going to leave just to please you. Laura gives a response. Don't grumble anymore. Don't grudge anymore. Instead, she says, I'm not going to leave just to please you. She has confirmed. Gonzalo then does his work, brushing the dust from his shoes with his handkerchief. If the ground were sprinkled a little bit would be an improvement. So he says, brushing the dust from his shoes with his handkerchief. If the ground were sprinkled a little bit, it would have been an improvement. He expects the dust should not be spread there. Laura asks the question, do you use your handkerchief as a shoe brush? Why not? Laura asks the question, do you use a shoe brush as a handkerchief? Vice versa, the question has been asked by Laura. Gonzalo, what right have you to criticize my actions? A neighbor's right. So these, remember, at the same moment that he has started brushing the dust by the handkerchief with his handkerchief, and this is usually not done by people, and for which Laura has asked the question, do you use a shoe brush as a handkerchief? What right have you to criticize my action? Gonzalo gets irritated, and then Laura says, it is the right of a neighbor, or neighbor has had the right. Remember that these these 5 statements have been available for reported speech several times. So dear students, please remember this also, the tense, the main verb, the helping verb, and the WH question, the statement, and the imperative sentence also. Please make a note of this also, which will be discussed later. Now, Janito, my book. I do not care to listen to nonsense. According to Gonzalo, what that Laura has said with regard to the shoe brush and the handkerchief and brushing the dust, that is nonsense. Now, he wants to change the dialogue, the conversation. You are very polite, Laura says. Gonzalo, pardon me, senior, but never interfere with what does not concern you. Now, Gonzalo does not want to continue the same thought. Instead, he wants to continue with some other work. So he says, never interfere with what does not concern you. Whether he brushes his shoes with handkerchief or not, that is irrelevant, and that is not related to Laura, is what that we have to understand. Laura, I generally say what I think. Laura doesn't stop her speech. Instead, she says, I generally say what I think. Look at the mentality once again, that she is straightforward. What she thinks, that she tells, probably what she thinks, that she does. These are all that we can think of here. Now, Gonzalo, and more to the same effect, give me the book, Janito. And Gonzalo says, as I have said just now, that what she thinks that she speaks, what she thinks probably she does, more to the same effect, in the because the effect is also the same. What one thinks, what one feels, if the same has been uttered or said, the effect is also direct, and that is why Gonzalo has said that same effect. Give me the book, Janito. He asks his servant. Now Janito, here, senior. Janito takes a book from his pocket, hands it to Don Gonzalo, then exits by right. Don Gonzalo, casting indignant means angry glances, he looks at Donna Laura, puts puts on means wears, keeps it, an enormous pair of glasses, takes from his pocket a reading glass, adjusts both to suit him, and opens his book. Laura, I thought you were taking out a telescope. She rather makes a comment on Gonzalo, and she feels that he could not see the things that are at a distance, and these are the thoughts that she has uh, that she had, and she has expressed the same. Was that you? Gonzalo had the doubt at this moment that who could this lady be? There is a tinge of understanding, the tinge of the familiarity of the voice of Laura, which we can think of. Was that you? So doubt starts at this moment to Gonzalo. He has a doubt whether it is a lady whom he met in the past, or a lady who is there without any familiarity of the past. Now, Laura, your sight must be keen. She has an expectation. She has an expectation that he has a sharp eyesight. Keener than yours is. So once again he hurts her. Keener than yours is, he says. Yes, evidently she has agreed for that. Asks the hares and partridges. Simply a statement that has been made by Gonzalo. Ask the hares and partridges, which means, as the conversation continues later, that hares and partridges have also been observed by him, and he has shot at them, he has killed them. These are all the thoughts that he has highlighted here in this particular phrase. Ah, do you hunt? Gonzalo, I did, and even now. Laura, oh, yes, of course. Gonzalo, yes, senior, every Sunday I take my gun and dog, you understand, and go to one of my estates near Aravaka and kill time. So he had spent time by killing animals. I take my gun and dog, you understand, go to one of my estates near Aravaka and kill time. So the pastime habit was such that he had the habit of shikari or hunting. Yes, kill time. That is all you kill. Laura hurts him by making such statements that you would waste time. You would, instead of pastime, she says that you would waste the time like that. Do you think so? I could show you a wild boar's head in my study room. It is not something I wasted my time. Instead, there are examples available for this. Gonzalo has said boar's head is also available in his study room. Laura, yes, and I could show you a tiger's skin in my boudoir, her private room. What does that prove? She doesn't show that she is unable to do such activities. She is also equally adept and skilled to do the work of hunting or hunting shikari. This is also possible by her, and for which she has said that she at one time in the past killed a tiger, and the skin is available in her private room. Very well, senior, please allow me to read enough conversation. So Gonzalo has agreed for that, and then please he asked her, requested her, her to allow him to read the book, and the conversation has been stopped there. Dear students, go through these pages and read further, and here I stop and let me continue in the next class. Thank you.